One day, I sat in the park. The sun was warm. Birds sang sweet songs. Children played and laughed. But I was alone, thinking about my past. My first love. It all started when I was 16 years old. I was shy. I didn't talk much. My English was not good. At school, I felt nervous when I spoke. I thought everyone would laugh at me. Do you feel like that sometimes? Then, one day, something changed. A new girl joined our class. Her name was Anna. She had bright eyes and a big smile. She said, "Hi." I said nothing. I just smiled back. But in my heart, I felt something new. "Let's sit together," Anna said. I couldn't believe it. Why would she want to sit with me? Anna was different. She was kind. She didn't laugh at my English. She helped me. When I said, "I go to park," she would smile and say, "You mean, I am going to the park." Her way of correcting me made me feel good, not bad. We talked every day. I learned new words. I felt more confident. And guess what? I started liking English. It didn't feel so scary anymore. Have you ever had a teacher or friend like that? One day, Anna shared something special. She loved stories. "Let's write a story together," she said. I was surprised. Me? Write a story? But Anna said, "You can do it. We will do it together." We started writing. The story was simple at first. It was about two kids who find a magic box. They open it, and inside, they find words that glow. Each word teaches them something new. Do you think words can change your life? Writing with Anna became my favorite thing. Every day, we added new ideas. Sometimes, we laughed so hard we couldn't write. Other times, we felt so proud of our story that we read it aloud to our classmates. They clapped. It felt like magic. But one day, Anna looked sad. "I have to leave," she said softly. My heart sank. "Why?" I asked. Her father got a new job in another city. She had to go. I didn't know what to say. I wanted to tell her how much she meant to me. But my words felt small. Have you ever felt that way? On her last day, Anna gave me a gift. It was a small notebook. "Write your own stories," she said. "And keep learning English." I held the notebook tightly. I wanted to cry. After Anna left, I missed her every day. But I didn't stop writing. I wrote about my feelings. I wrote about dreams. And slowly, I became better at English. One day, I opened the notebook again. On the last page, Anna had written something. It said, "Words can change the world. Keep writing. Keep dreaming." Her words stayed with me. They still do. Whenever I feel lost, I think of Anna. She taught me to believe in myself. She showed me that love is not just about feelings. It's about helping each other grow. If you're still listening, thank you. There's so much more to this story. Do you want to know what happened next? Keep listening because I will share something amazing soon. Let me ask you, what is one word or phrase in English that inspires you? Write it in the comments. Also, if you like this story, please subscribe and like. It helps me create more stories for you. After Anna left, my days felt empty. I missed her smile, her voice, and the way she made everything feel possible. But I didn't let the sadness win. I held on to the notebook she gave me. Every night, I wrote in it. At first, my English was still simple. Today, I feel sad. I miss Anna. But day by day, I wrote more. My sentences grew longer. I tried new words. It felt like Anna was still helping me, even though she wasn't there. One evening, I sat under a big tree in the park. The sky was pink and orange. I opened the notebook and started writing a story. This time, it was about a boy who had a magical pen. Whatever he wrote became real. As I wrote, I imagined Anna sitting next to me, saying, "That's a great idea." I smiled. Have you ever felt like someone is with you, even when they're far away? Something amazing happened that week. My teacher asked me to read my story in front of the class. I was scared. What if I made a mistake? What if people laughed? But then I thought of Anna's words, "You can do it." I stood up. My hands shook a little. But I took a deep breath and started reading. As I spoke, I saw my classmates' faces. They were listening. They were smiling. And when I finished, they clapped. For the first time, I felt proud of my English. It wasn't perfect, but it didn't have to be. The important thing was that I tried. That's something I want you to remember too. Mistakes are okay. They mean you're learning. Later, my teacher said, "You have a talent for writing." I couldn't believe it. Me? Talented? I thought about Anna. She always said I could do more than I believed. Weeks turned into months. I wrote more stories. I read books. I watched movies in English. Slowly, my confidence grew. And then, something unexpected happened. One day, I got a letter. The envelope had a familiar handwriting. My heart raced as I opened it. It was from Anna. "Dear friend," the letter began. "I hope you are doing well. I miss our talks and our stories. How is your English? Are you still writing?" I smiled as I read her words. She told me about her new city, her new school, and how she was making friends. But at the end of the letter, she wrote something that made my heart stop. "I will visit your city next summer," she wrote. "Maybe we can meet again." Can you imagine how I felt? I couldn't believe it. I started counting the days. I wanted to show Anna how much I had grown. That summer, I waited at the same park where we used to sit. I held her notebook in my hands. And then, I saw her. She was walking toward me, smiling. "Hi," she said. "Hi," I replied. But this time, I wasn't shy. I told her everything, about my stories, about reading in class, about how I was improving my English. Anna listened with a big smile. I knew you could do it, she said. We spent the whole day talking and laughing. It felt like old times. But then, Anna shared something surprising. I'm moving again, she said softly. This time, it's far away. My heart sank. But I didn't feel the same sadness as before. I knew we would stay connected. Will you keep writing to me? I asked. Of course, she said. And you must keep writing too. Before she left, Anna gave me another gift. It was a small, silver pen. For all the stories you will write, she said. From that day, I promised myself something. I would keep writing. I would keep learning. And I would never forget Anna's words. Words can change the world. Now, as I share this story with you, I want to remind you of something. Even small steps can lead to big changes. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to dream. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and like. It helps me bring more stories to you. And tell me in the comments, what is one thing you want to achieve in English? After Anna left again, I felt both happy and sad. Happy because I got to see her and tell her everything. Sad because I knew it might be a long time before I saw her again. But something had changed inside me. Anna's words, words can change the world, stayed in my heart. Every time I felt unsure or lonely, I opened the notebook or used the silver pen she gave me. One day, I was sitting in my room, staring at a blank page. I thought, what should I write about today? Suddenly, an idea came to me. What if I wrote a story about Anna? Not just about her, but about everything she taught me? I began writing. The story was about a girl named Anya and a boy named Ben. Anya was smart, brave, and kind. She helped Ben learn and grow. But then, Anya had to leave. The story showed how Ben became stronger because of her. As I wrote, I felt so many emotions: happiness, sadness, hope. It was like reliving our friendship. When the story was done, I shared it with my teacher. She read it and said, "This is beautiful. You should send it to a competition." A competition? I asked, surprised. I never thought my writing was good enough for that. Yes, she said. Your story can inspire others. I was nervous, but I decided to try. I sent my story to a local writing contest. Weeks passed, and I almost forgot about it. Then one day, I got a letter in the mail. I opened it with shaking hands. It said, "Congratulations. Your story won second place in the competition." I couldn't believe it. Me? A winner? I ran to tell my parents. They were so proud. My mom even had tears in her eyes. That day, I learned something important. Sometimes, we don't believe in ourselves. But others see our potential. And when we try, amazing things can happen. Winning the competition gave me more confidence. I started writing more stories. Some were about friendship, some about dreams, and some about overcoming fears. One of my favorite stories was about a little boy who finds a magic book. Every time he opens it, the book speaks to him and teaches him a new word. The boy uses those words to help people in his village. I shared this story with younger kids in my neighborhood. They loved it. They laughed, they asked questions, and they even started learning new words from the story. It made me so happy to see that my words could make a difference. It reminded me of how Anna had helped me when I was younger. One day, as I was reading to the kids, I thought, what if I share my stories with even more people? That's when the idea of starting a channel came to me. I decided to call it Learn English with Stories. I wanted to help others, just like Anna had helped me. At first, I was scared. What if no one listened? What if people didn't like my stories? But then, I remembered Anna's words, you can do it. So, I started. I shared simple, short stories with easy English. At first, only a few people watched. But slowly, more and more people found my channel. They left comments like, this story helped me learn a new word, or your stories inspire me. Reading those comments made my heart so full. I realized that my small efforts were helping others. Now, as I share this story with you, I want you to know something. No matter where you are in your English journey, you can grow. Just take one step at a time. If you're still listening, thank you. I have something special to share with you next. But first, let me ask you, what is one thing you want to do better in English? Write it in the comments. Also, if you like this story, please subscribe and like. It helps me create more stories for you. As my channel grew, something wonderful started happening. People from all over the world began sharing their stories with me. Some were about their struggles with learning English. Others were about their dreams, their fears, and the people who inspired them. I realized something important. We all have stories, and every story matters. Some stories make us laugh, some make us cry, and some give us hope. But all of them teach us something. One message stood out to me. It was from a young girl named Sarah. She wrote, I listen to your stories every night. My English is not good, but I want to learn. Thank you for helping me. I felt so touched. I remembered how I felt when Anna helped me. And now, I was doing the same for someone else. Isn't it amazing how kindness can spread like that? But life is not always easy, right? One day, I felt very tired. I thought, maybe I should stop making stories. It's too much work. That evening, I went to the park where I used to write. I sat under the same big tree where I had written my first story. The sun was setting, and the sky was filled with soft colors. I opened Anna's notebook again. I hadn't looked at it in a long time. As I flipped through the pages, I found her words. Words can change the world. Keep writing. Keep dreaming. Tears filled my eyes. How could I give up when I had come so far? Anna believed in me, and now so many others did too. I closed the notebook and made a promise to myself. I won't stop. I will keep going, no matter how hard it gets. The next day, I shared a new story on my channel. It was about a little girl who wanted to learn to sing, but was too scared to try. With the help of a kind stranger, she found her voice and sang in front of her whole village. The story got so many comments. One person wrote, "This story is my favorite. It gave me courage to try something new." That's when I knew I was doing the right thing. My stories were not just about learning English. They were about helping people believe in themselves. One day, I decided to share a story about Anna on my channel. I wanted everyone to know how much she had inspired me. The story was called "The Friend Who Changed My Life." I talked about how Anna helped me when I was shy and scared. I shared how her kindness gave me the confidence to learn and grow. After I posted the story, something amazing happened. People started sharing stories about their own Annas. Some talked about teachers, others about friends or family members who believed in them. It reminded me of how connected we all are. No matter where we come from, we all need someone to believe in us. And when we believe in ourselves, we can do anything. If you're still listening, I want you to know this: you are important. Your dreams matter. And you can achieve more than you think. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe and like. It helps me continue sharing stories with you. Now, here's a question for you. Who is someone in your life who inspires you? Write about them in the comments. As the days passed, the channel became more than I had ever imagined. People began to leave voice messages, sharing how much the stories helped them. Some would say, "Your stories make me feel less alone." Others shared how they used the stories to improve their English or to inspire their kids. One day, I received a message that changed my life. It was from a man named Raj. He said, "I listen to your stories with my daughter every night. She is 7 years old and loves your story about the magic book. She told me, 'Papa, one day I want to write like this.'" I smiled as I read the message. Then Raj added, "If possible, can you create a story for her? Her name is Mira, and she loves stars." A story for a little girl who loves stars? How could I say no to that? That evening, I sat down with Anna's notebook and my silver pen. I thought about Mira, a little girl who dreams of stars. Then, I began to write. The story was about a girl named Mira who loved to look at the night sky. One day, she met a talking star named Lumi. Lumi was lost and needed help finding her way back to the sky. Mira used her kindness and courage to guide Lumi home. When the story was ready, I shared it on my channel and dedicated it to Mira. The next day, Raj sent me a voice message. His voice was filled with emotion. "Thank you," he said. Mira couldn't stop smiling. She says you're her favorite storyteller. Hearing that made my heart so full. It reminded me why I started this journey in the first place: to touch hearts, to inspire, and to make learning English fun. But life had another surprise waiting for me. One morning, I received an email from someone I never expected. It was Anna. Her email said, "Hi. I found your channel. I've been listening to your stories. I can't believe how much you've grown as a writer. I'm so proud of you." My heart raced as I read her words. I felt like the shy 16-year-old boy again, sitting next to Anna in class. But this time, I wasn't nervous. I was excited. Anna and I started exchanging emails. She told me about her life, her work, and how she still loves stories. She said, "You've inspired me to write again too." It felt like everything had come full circle. Anna had once inspired me, and now, through my stories, I had inspired her. One day, Anna wrote something that made me think deeply. She said, "Do you ever wonder how many lives your stories have touched? Sometimes, we don't realize how much of a difference we make." Her words stayed with me. They made me realize that every story, no matter how small, has the power to change someone's life. And so, I kept writing. I kept sharing. I kept believing in the magic of words. If you're still here, I want to thank you. Your support means the world to me. And remember, your story matters too. You have the power to inspire, just like Anna inspired me. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe and like. It's a small way to say thank you for all the hard work behind these stories. Now, here's a question for you. What is one dream you have? Share it in the comments, and let's inspire each other. Months went by, and something incredible began to happen. The channel grew even more, reaching people in different countries. Each comment, each message felt like a little spark of connection. One day, I received an email from a teacher in a small village. Her name was Maria. She wrote, "I teach English to children who have very little. They don't have books or resources, but they love listening to your stories. It's their favorite part of the day." As I read Maria's words, I felt tears in my eyes. I imagined her students, sitting in a small classroom, their faces lighting up as they listened to the stories. Maria continued, "Your story about the magic book inspired my students. Now, they all want to write their own stories. I wanted to thank you for giving them hope." I sat quietly for a while, holding that email in my heart. How could something as simple as a story have such a big impact? It reminded me that even small acts can create waves of change. The next week, I decided to dedicate a story to Maria's students. It was about a little boy named Sammy who found a tree that grew books instead of fruits. The books were magical, and each one told a story that could make people smile, cry, or dream. When Maria shared the story with her students, they sent me a recording. The children's voices were filled with joy as they said, "Thank you." It was one of the happiest moments of my life. But as my channel grew, so did my responsibilities. I had to work harder to write new stories, respond to messages, and think of ways to keep improving. Sometimes, I felt overwhelmed. One night, I sat at my desk, staring at a blank page. I had no ideas. My mind felt tired. What if I can't think of a good story anymore? I wondered. I closed my eyes and thought of Anna. I imagined her saying, "Don't give up. Just start with one word." So, I picked up the silver pen she gave me and wrote one word, hope. That word turned into a sentence. The sentence turned into a paragraph. And soon, I had a story. It was about a girl named Tara who got lost in a forest, but found her way home by following tiny lights in the dark. The story wasn't just for my listeners. It was for me too. It reminded me that even in difficult times, we can find our way if we keep moving forward. The response to that story was overwhelming. People wrote, "This story gave me strength." Others shared their own stories of hope and perseverance. That's when I realized something important. The stories weren't just about learning English. They were about life, about finding courage, kindness, and connection. If you're still listening, thank you for being part of this journey. Every time you listen, every time you comment, you remind me why I do this. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and like. It helps me continue creating stories for you. And now, I have a question for you. What is one word in English that gives you hope? Write it in the comments. As time went on, something magical began to happen with the stories. People not only listened but started to share them with their families, friends, and even in classrooms. A teacher from Japan wrote, "Your stories are now a part of our English lessons." My students love guessing what happens next. Thank you for making learning so fun. Hearing this made my heart swell with gratitude. I thought about how Anna had started my journey, and now, through her inspiration, her kindness was reaching people far beyond what either of us could have imagined. But one evening, while reading through the comments, I came across a message that caught my attention. It was from a boy named Ahmed. He wrote, "I am scared to learn English, because I make mistakes. Everyone laughs at me. Your stories make me feel less scared. Thank you for helping me." Ahmed's words stayed with me all night. I remembered the fear I had felt when I first started learning. I remembered how Anna's encouragement had helped me push through. So, I decided to write a story just for Ahmed and anyone else who felt scared. The story was about a little bird named Pip who wanted to fly high in the sky. But every time Pip tried, he would fall, and the other birds would laugh. One day, an old owl told Pip, "Mistakes are like stepping stones. If you keep trying, one day you'll soar higher than anyone." Pip didn't give up. He kept flapping his wings, even when it was hard. And one day, he flew higher than he had ever imagined. When I posted the story, the response was incredible. Ahmed wrote back, "I feel like Pip. I will try again, even if I make mistakes." His message made me smile. It reminded me of the power of stories to heal, to inspire, and to give hope. But then, something even more surprising happened. One morning, I received an email from a publishing company. They had discovered my channel and wanted to turn some of the stories into a book. At first, I couldn't believe it. Me? A writer? But then, I thought of Anna's words, "You can do more than you think." I worked hard on the book, selecting the best stories and writing a few new ones. When it was finally published, I held it in my hands with tears in my eyes. It was a dream I never thought would come true. The book was called Words That Shine, Stories to Inspire and Learn. It was dedicated to Anna, to Ahmed, to Maria's students, to Mira, and to everyone who had ever believed in the power of words. As the book reached more people, the channel grew even bigger. More voices joined the community, each sharing their own dreams and struggles. One day, as I read through the comments, I thought, this isn't just my journey. It's ours. And now, as I share this with you, I want you to know that your journey matters too. Whether you're learning English, chasing a dream, or finding your way, you are not alone. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe and like. It's a simple way to support this growing community of dreamers and learners. Now, here's a new question for you. What is one mistake you've made that taught you something important? Share it in the comments, and let's inspire each other. Let me know if you want more stories. Together, we can keep creating magic. Smiling face with smiling eyes. The journey didn't stop there. As the channel and the book gained more attention, invitations began to pour in. Schools, libraries, and even community centers asked me to visit and share my stories in person. One invitation stood out. It came from a small village near the mountains. The teacher, Mrs. Lila, wrote, "We don't have internet here, but we've heard about your stories. Would you come and tell them to the children?" It was a long journey to reach the village. The roads were narrow, and the mountains seemed to stretch forever. But when I arrived, I saw a sight I'll never forget. Under a large tree, about 30 children sat on mats, waiting eagerly. They had bright eyes and big smiles, even though their clothes were simple and worn. When I began telling a story about a brave little rabbit who outsmarted a fox, the children laughed, clapped, and listened with such joy. Their excitement reminded me of why I started this journey: to connect, to inspire, and to bring light through stories. After the session, one of the children, a boy named Ravi, tugged at my sleeve. "Will you come back?" he asked shyly. His question touched me deeply. "I promise I will," I said. On my way back, I thought about how much stories can do. They bring hope to those who need it most, even in the farthest corners of the world. Back home, I decided to start something new. I called it Story Letters. Each month, I would send handwritten letters with a new story to schools and children in remote places where internet access was limited. The first batch of letters went out to 15 schools. The stories were simple yet meaningful, about kindness, bravery, and never giving up. Soon, more requests started coming in. One teacher wrote, "Your letter arrived," and the children couldn't stop talking about the story of the magic kite. It's become their favorite game to imagine what they'd wish for if they had a kite like that. Hearing this made me realize that stories aren't just words. They're bridges that connect hearts and minds, no matter where we are. One day, as I was preparing the next story letter, I received a surprise package. Inside was a small gift from the village I had visited. It was a handmade card with a simple message: "Thank you for bringing us stories. You are part of our family now." I held the card close, feeling a mix of joy and humility. It reminded me that the real reward of sharing stories isn't fame or recognition, it's the connections we make along the way. If you're still listening, thank you for being part of this journey. You inspire me to keep going. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and like. It helps me continue reaching more people with these tales. And now, I have a question for you. What is one thing that makes you feel connected to others? Share it in the comments. Let me know if you want to hear more. Every story is a chance to grow and share something special. Smiling face with smiling eyes.